On the open plains of East Africa, there is a bird so small it could sit in the palm of your hand. It owns no territory. It builds no fortress. Instead, it lives its entire life on the backs of animals 1,000 times its size. But this morning, something is wrong. The giant it calls home has not moved since dawn. Can a baby oxpecker survive the one thing it was never taught to face, the death of its own world? To understand what this bird is about to lose, you first have to understand what it had. An oxpecker does not simply visit the great animals of the savannah. It belongs to one. From the moment it can fly, a young oxpecker chooses a host, a buffalo, a rhino, a giraffe, and that single animal becomes everything to it. Its feeding ground, its shelter from the wind, its lookout tower above the tall grass, its warning system against the predators that hunt them both. In return, the bird pays its rent in service. It clears the ticks that burrow into the giant's hide. It cleans the wounds the giant cannot reach. And when danger creeps close, the oxpecker is the first to see it, exploding into the air with a hissing alarm call that has saved countless larger animals from the lion in the grass. This young bird, barely months old, had found its giant early, a great Cape buffalo, scarred and slow, but steady. For weeks, the two were inseparable. The bird learned every fold of the buffalo's skin, every mood, every sound. It had done everything right. But the savannah keeps no promises, and a bird that has bound its entire survival to a single life has also bound itself to a single death. If the giant falls, the bird does not simply lose a friend. It loses its home, its food, its safety, and the only map of the world it has ever known, all at once. That is the risk written into this partnership, and this morning, the bill has come due. The buffalo lies in the shallows where it collapsed in the night. The oxpecker does what it has always done. It works. It moves across the familiar hide, searching for ticks, calling softly, the way it always has when the two of them wake. But the giant does not stir. And here is the first thing that will surprise you about this small bird. It does not understand death, not yet. To the oxpecker, its giant is not gone. It is simply still. So the bird waits. It preens. It guards a body that can no longer be guarded. For a young oxpecker, loyalty comes long before understanding. The hours pass, and the savannah begins to notice. On the horizon, the first vultures tilt into the wind. They have seen what the little bird has not yet accepted, and they are patient. By midday, the truth arrives in a way the oxpecker cannot ignore. The ticks it feeds on begin to abandon the cooling body, its food supply quietly leaving. The flies change, the smell changes, and with the vultures now circling low, the greatest danger of all is no longer above the bird. It is around it, because a fallen giant is not an ending on the savannah, it is an invitation. Hyenas will come, lions may come, and a small bird sitting on a carcass, distracted by grief it doesn't have a name for, is exactly the kind of easy target the plains are always waiting for. For the first time in its short life, the oxpecker is not protected by something enormous, it is exposed. And the lesson every oxpecker must eventually learn is now standing in front of it, wearing the face of everything it loved. Your giant will not always be there to save you. In the end, you must be able to save yourself. As the light shifts toward afternoon, instinct finally overrides loyalty. The oxpecker lifts off the body, and for a terrifying moment, it does something it has almost never done. It flies alone, low over open ground, with no tower of muscle beneath it, and no alarm call but its own. Every meter is a gamble. A lone oxpecker is a mouthful for a falcon, a snack for a mongoose. This is the most dangerous journey of its life, and no one taught it the way. But the savannah is not empty. In the distance, a herd is moving. Buffalo, dozens of them, grazing through the gold grass with a cloud of oxpeckers rising and falling above their backs. The young bird sees them, and it faces a choice that will decide everything. Approach a herd of strangers that owes it nothing, or stay loyal to a giant that can no longer answer. It flies toward the herd. This is not a warm welcome. The oxpeckers already living on these buffalo have their own giants, their own territories of skin, and they do not share easily. The newcomer is chased. Knocked from one back, it lands on another and is driven off again. To the herd, it is an intruder. To the older birds, it is competition. But the young oxpecker has one thing the others do not. It has already survived the worst day of its life. It has watched its entire world go still and lived. And a bird that has lost everything is a bird with nothing left to fear. So it does not give up. It waits at the edges. It takes the buffalo the other birds ignore, the young, the low-ranking, the ones on the outside. It makes itself useful before it makes itself welcome. Tick by tick, wound by wound, it earns a place no one wanted to give it. By dusk, when the herd settles and the oxpeckers tuck into the warmth of buffalo hide for the night, there is one more small shape among them than there was that morning. Not the same bird it was at dawn. This one has learned the lesson the savannah teaches only once, and never gently. A giant can give you a home, but only you can carry the thing that finds the next one. The oxpecker will spend the rest of its life on the backs of giants. It will clean them, guard them, warn them, and depend on them, just as it always has. That is the bargain of its species, written into every feather. But it will never again believe that a giant is forever. It has felt the ground drop out of its world and found the strength to fly to another. And on the plains of Africa, that is the only kind of survival that lasts. Not the strength of the giant you ride, but the courage to find a new one when the old one falls. The vultures descended on the old buffalo before nightfall. The savannah, as always, wasted nothing. And somewhere in a moving herd of 1,000 tons of muscle, one small bird slept, no longer a baby, no longer alone. The oxpecker's story is one of the strangest partnerships in all of nature, a tiny life stitched to the largest animals on the continent. If you want to follow that story from the very beginning, from the first egg to the first giant, the journey continues in the next chapter of the life of an oxpecker. Watch the wild the way it truly is, small, fierce, and never, ever finished.